Sorry, I always forget.
So you haven't recorded what you have said so far?
No. No. we can do it together. We can do it again.
You will send the code.
Yeah. I'll send the code. Yeah. So let's model a user. I'm gonna have a name. I'm gonna have last name as a separate thing. What else could we have on a user? Age.
29.
Favorite color.
Gender. Female. Nationality. Mexican. And so this is, as I said, extensible. You can add all of the things that you want to here. And so let's just start doing some, how could I add, remember you did this exercise for homework where you were adding the name and the last name together to return something.
Yeah.
To return the full name.
Yeah.
So can you think of how we could do that without a function, but just here, taking in two properties that we have in this user?
User.name. Appending with user.last name.
Exactly. And then we add, and I can say like is, and then how do I access the age?
User.age.
They do it with space.
So I don't have to put the append operator there.
No, that's the beauty of backticks.
Yeah, it's the beauty of backticks.
That's why I love them.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I'm a fan. And so we could build this, right? And these are the properties that we have in the user. And so let's think of, because what we've done so far is have arrays that have simple structures, so either numbers, strings, we have an array of booleans, and we said that we could combine them together, right? And so what this is going to bring us is the power to have arrays of objects. And so let's say I'm going to create this one user, I'm going to create user 2, and this is going to be the same. But this is my sister, and this is Sophia, and she's 23. She's also female and Mexican. And I'm gonna have these two arrays in it. And let's say I want to loop through the array and print specific things of these objects in it. Do you remember how to loop through the array?
Yeah, with for loop.
For loop?
looping.
Yeah, dictate the for loop to me. Okay, you're forgetting the let I.
I is maybe less than length of the array. Array dot length. And the increment operator. I plus. Yeah.
And if I want to access
Array of 0. Array of I.
and what is this? At this point, what is array in I? Is my user, right? So can I do array in I dot name? Who knows? Who knows? So array in I, let's see it. Let's see what's in it. We're now printing objects that we created, and this is the first one, and you can see how it's like JavaScript understands that this is an object. You can see how it sort of formats it, and it says proto, which is sort of the type, is an object. And we have the other object. Do you think we have arrays in object?
Sorry?
Do you think we have arrays as values in the object? So what we have here, let's look at line number 2. Name is the property that has a value, and that value?
Is Alicia.
And what's Alicia?
String.
It's a string. Number 4, we have the attribute that's age, and that's a number. We don't need to define that anywhere because JavaScript doesn't care about types. It will let you do whatever you want. And so let's say that I want to, I'm not sure what could be. Yeah, let's do favorite colors.
You can put it in array, maybe.
Favorite colors. And let's say I have many.
Many, in array. Yeah,
And we can have an array. And it's pink and blue and red and green. So we can have arrays as well as part of this. Do you think we can have objects as part of objects? We can. So let's say that if, like, my sister let's just say that you can have everything and you can nest a lot of stuff in it.
You can also put functions on it, right?
Yes, you can. So let's get back into looping this. And we're gonna say that array in I, so when it's 0, it's gonna be the first user that we created, right? And I want to only print the names of that. And so, like I said, there are two ways to do this. We could do .name, and we could do name. And one of the things that you can do is that you can dynamically add attributes to your object. So I'm going to print what's in it now, and then I'm going to say that my item, which is an object, now has a new attribute that I want to create in it. And that's which is the city that I'm from, in Mexico. And then let's print the object before and after, just so we can see. And this will add it only to the user or to user 2 as well. It will add it for both, right? Because we're looping through it, and so we're not checking for anything. And so they're both going to get this new attribute that's called city with the same value. Yep.
This is what I need to, because I understand you're adding an attribute. I can't just put it down in reality to understand why I would do that.
So why you would do that? Let's say that you have in your database a list of users, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a list of users that have logged into your service or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a button that says, I want this offer or this specific thing. So you need to update that user. You need to update that there. Maybe you need to update the email. Let's say that you need to update the email of that user. You would need to do, not in a loop, but let's say that you need to do this outside. When the user clicks the button, then you need to change some property of that object. This is just, we're just looping through the array, but you don't have to. But let's say that you have an interface when you select many users, and so you have a list of things that you need to update something to. Let's say that you have articles. That's another good example to use as an object, because it has a name, it has a body, it has an author, it has some of that. And let's say that you select a bunch of articles, and you want to update the author name on them. You need to loop through all of them and change the author property on those.
That makes sense.
Yeah. We can do that. We can change these examples to be articles. So my article has a name, and this is news and body. And I just added some text and published. And I'm going to say new date. I think maybe this makes sense. I'm not sure. And what's this going to be, the new date? We saw it in the last example, right? That's going to be the date of today. Yep. And so I'm going to create another one, but it's just going to have a different title. And so if I go here and I say, for example, none of this have authors, right? This is now article. The loop stays the same. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to say that the author is now me. And let's see if this updates, if this is going to add something else to this. So what's going on? So this is before. Oh yeah, this is my author already. It's added into the new, into the old one, and so it did this. And then cannot set property author of undefined. Why do you think that is? There's something wrong in the for loop that no one told me about.
It's not another.
It's in this condition. So we're going into this, and then it says undefined. So that means that we're going through an index that's not there, right?
Yeah.
So we're not stopping when we should in the for loop. We're going above.
I less than or equal to is the problem.
Yeah. We don't need this. We don't need the equals. And so we're adding this. You can see that we have a date object as well as part of the published. And we're now adding an item to the object that we previously created so we can extend to it. If we want to add more stuff to this, we could.
But both of them have it, right?
Yeah. But that's fine, no? And I think in the other way, so if I said author, I think this one, this syntax doesn't allow me to create the attribute as the dot syntax. I think. I don't remember. Maybe it does, yeah. So we're updating this dynamically. And we can do the same thing if you think about sort of real life examples is the same with products. Like whenever you shop online, the price and all of that, those are almost always just properties on the product object. And then you have a list of products. And let's say that we wanted to add, let's change this again. And this is now a product. And this has a price of 10. And this has a price of 20. Actually, yeah, the other one is not a string. And
So I can update it not by adding a new field, but just changing the price.
yeah, we could do that, but also let's say, like, I was thinking more of you want to calculate, like, we want to add all of your items. These are all the items that you selected, and you want to buy them. And so your cart, sort of, is this array where you have cart, where you have these items that you put in your shopping bag or in your shopping cart, right? And so we want to know how much is it that you're going to pay. How could we do that?
Like a total?
Yeah, we want a total, right? We want it outside of this. And at the beginning it's going to be 0. And then we're going to loop through it. And what do we want to do?
add
We want
everything,
to add
so
the
now
prices.
so total plus price of I. I don't know.
So total
product
equals
of I dot
total plus
product of I dot plus.
cart in
Yeah, cart of
my index
Mm-hmm.
dot
dot price.
price. Array is not defined. This is now called cart. Assignment to constant variable. What's the problem here?
Let
Yes. So we can do stuff like this.
I just have a question.
Yep.
You said we can dynamically add different properties inside for loop
Mm-hmm.
with a value
Yeah.
for that property.
Yeah.
What if each of my objects in the array, I need the key is the same, but the value should be different.
The key is the same, but the value should be different. Yeah, like sort of like the price here, or
Yes, like for example, for product the price is 10, for product 2 the price is 20. Right?
mm-hmm.
The value is different for all the three objects.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, how do I add it? If it is the same, it's going to be the same inside the loop.
Yeah. So how do you add? You mean like different values
Yes.
to something new that you want to add there?
No. Let's just have it like a price.
Yeah.
Inside a for loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how? But how do you think you would do that? You know, you already have all of the concepts to do that.
Like product of I dot price is going to be 10, and for the second time in the loop runs, I don't want it to be 10. I want it to be 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you want it specific to, like, do you only want product with the name, like let's make this a bit more apple, banana, and bread. If we only want to update, let's say, let's add this as a type fruit, and banana is also a type fruit, and we want to say that we want to increase the price 10 or 5 for all of the items that have the type fruit in it.
Oh yeah, that we can do. Like
Yeah.
by comparing, that is okay. My doubt was not that. My
Mhm.
doubt was we cannot dynamically add different values to the same key, right? In the sense, for example, inside the for loop,
Mm-hmm.
let's assume that we don't have a price. Can we
Yeah.
just remove the price property in all the three products?
Yes.
Yeah. So now I need to add price to that all the three products. So I
Mhm.
need to use the loop.
Yeah.
And I just have to add.
Yeah.
But the values inside that is different.
Yeah.
How can we add different values?
Yeah. So you can do that. Do you know, let's say that for apple you want to add a specific price, and for
Yeah.
banana you want to add a specific price. Do you have something to compare with? I think we do. So let's say that we're going to say that if my card in I dot name equals apple, then we're going to say that card in I dot price equals 10.
Okay, so we have to use if condition.
Yeah, this is only if you want to target specific objects in your array. But let's do that example of adding something only to the ones that had the type fruit.
Yeah.
So let's say that if,
Cart of I.
which is my current object, right? And then we want to say that if the type triples equals fruit, then I want my object, which is cart in I dot price, to equal what? We want to increase 10 to the current price that it has.
So the total was 10.
We don't have the total anymore.
What's the requirement? We have to?
We have to increase 10 for the current. So it's this plus 10. And then let's take a look at the card again. This is correct, right? And what do you think it compares when it gets to this one if it doesn't have the type?
If condition will be false.
We can check. Let's log what card I.type is for all of the elements in the array. So it's fruit, and if it's not there, if the property is not there, then it's undefined. And what's the Boolean value of undefined?
False.
It's just false. So it won't fall into that one. There's some examples on how we can delete part of the object. So we have delete, and then you delete the property that user has. Here's an example of the object that I was telling you about. So we have the classes, which is an array, and hobbies, for example, is another object. So you can have, complex objects built into this. I think, Are there any questions on objects?
There will be more after this class.
This is not like
Sorry?
like these complex elements, like they have so many items. It's more like matrix because you can have everything on it.
Yeah, you can have everything on it. Yeah. And they're very, very widely used specifically for listings of stuff. Like it has these users, all of the users are always modeled into objects because you can't have all of the items that you need in an array. We saw that the array is, an array of strings, but when you have an array of objects, then that's everything. That sort of multiplies the things that you can do and the data that you have available by a ton, because now you have an array of things that have a bunch of things in it. And then based on those things, you can have conditionals and you can add stuff to them, and you can, so all of the data that usually you get from the server, now you have in the client, and you can base stuff on it like that. Like when you have in Facebook, for example, or in Twitter, where you have, if we go back of thinking about this as users, you have the name and all of these things, but you also have friends. And what do you think friends is? An array of objects. And so this is the thing that you will encounter the most when you're working with real valued things. Yeah. I think we should take the break a bit earlier today.
Do we all look like that? I think with the face before, so it's not like laughing.
Yeah. And so we can take like a 20-minute break now, and we can take another one later on as well. But after this, it's arrays, and then it's the call stack. So this one is a tough lesson. Yeah, it takes a lot of thinking. The previous one was easy. And if you have questions about the homework, you can ask me now, and we can take a look.
I have one question. Is everything recorded?
It's being recorded now.
We're going to have to process a few times.